Good morning, Bishop Eustace. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Jeff.
And this is BETV,
The St. Vincent Pilati edition. Today we'll be talking about St. Vincent's vocation and ministry.
We'll be interviewing individuals around campus to get their perspectives on St. Vincent's life and background. Now here's Caden, live with Father Bob.
I'm here with Father Bob from Bishop Eustace. Father, when did St. Vincent Pilati know that God was calling him?
Probably at a very early age. He was very religious even as a child. I don't think there was any question that he would become a priest. Although he wanted to join, I think, the Capuchins, but his health was so poor they wouldn't take him. So eventually he was ordained as a diocesan priest for Rome.
Who influenced St. Vincent Pilati?
Well, fundamentally, at his early ages, I think it was his mother most of all. She was a very pious, very religious woman. So was his father, which today you would call them very active Catholics. Plus what I think he saw in his own life, going to Mass almost every day, learning from what he saw and the people he associated from. And there's any one particular person who moved him in that direction. There's a lot of things.
How did he go about following God's call?
Well, he went to the seminary and got himself ordained. He was involved in many different activities. At one point, he was a parish priest, but because of the many activities that he got involved in, different societies, confraternities, different organizations, teaching in different seminaries itself, I don't think you can give him no single label that can be attached to what he did and how he worked. He just, I don't know how he did it. He just did so many things. It got to a point where you sit there and say, yeah, he did all these things. Yeah, sure, yeah. But apparently he did it. It's all on record. They have it in the house in Rome, generally in Rome. So he wasn't just a one-sided personality. He was many sides, and he helped with orphanages, schools, religious communities just were beginning, older communities that wanted him for retreats. He was a confessor for 2 popes. He did a lot of stuff. That's how he did it.
Did he face any obstacles along the way?
Oh yes, the first church he was assigned to, the Neapolitan church, they didn't like him, so they gave him a hard time. They would hide the keys so he wouldn't be able to get in and out of the building. They just made his life as miserable as they could possibly do so. The greatest challenge, I think, was when he started the society, and the society, the Union of the Catholic Apostolate, and there were people in Rome who didn't like the idea, didn't like the name, so they gave him a very, very difficult time. At one point it was taken away from him, and his only reaction was to say nothing and just keep going. A name that we didn't get back again until, I guess, around the 1940s and 1950s. We were called something else for a long time. Those are the only 2 great obstacles I think he had. He had obstacles in terms of his health. He wasn't always healthy. He was a frail person, but he managed to get around a great deal of, he did a lot of work in a small area of Rome, which is amazing when you look at it. Other than the ordinary obstacles, the revolution came to Rome, and he was, because he sided with the Pope and the Church, revolutionaries were after him, trying to kill him, to get him out of the way. He even had to hide out as in the Irish College in Rome for a while to be able to be alive. Sometimes he would go out in disguises because someone was ill and dying and they wanted a priest, and he would go with them. But those are the only great obstacles I know of that stood in his way.
Did he have any support system to help him through these hard times?
His greatest support was Jesus Christ. On the human side, he had people who knew him from the seminary, many of whom joined his community, priests, would become a community of priests and brothers. There were priests who supported him. There were bishops who supported him, cardinals. As I said before, there were 2 popes who supported him. He got a lot of support from what we would call today the laity or lay people, because at that time in the church was considered to be the Pope and the bishops and the priests, and lay people were just there. But his idea was to include everybody who wanted to help, which is why it was so unique, because it came to full fruition, I suppose, with the Second Vatican Council in the early 60s, when the role of lay people in the church was expanded and put in proper perspective, that the church isn't just Pope, cardinals, bishops, and priests. For the most part, the church is the people who are not those. That's probably the greatest success he had, is that he had an idea which was I think 1835, and it was 1963. So it took a long time for the rest of the church to catch up to him. So he was ahead of his time, which is kind of unique among religious founders of communities and things like that.
What work did St. Vincent Pallotti do in his priesthood?
Well, he did what most priests do. You know, he heard confessions, he would minister sacraments, he would celebrate the Eucharist, he would visit the sick. He found different organizations that would feed the poor, clothe the poor, give shelter to the poor. He taught in several seminaries. He was sometimes he was asked to give retreats to religious communities of men and women. He was spiritual advisor to a lot of people, and his reputation was that he was on the go all the time, from the time he got up in the morning to when it was he went to sleep. He slept very little, maybe 3-4 hours a night, because he always was aware that there was so much to be done and so little time to do it. So when he could, he would be on the go. But he also took time to pray, to be quiet with God, and to let God speak to him. As a result of that, he was able to accomplish a lot of things in Rome, much of which still exists. So he was a busy man, way ahead of his times. That's what he did as a priest.
All right. Thank you, Father. Back to Jeff and Sarah.
Thanks, Caden.
Now let's go live to Jacob with Miss Santamaro.
I'm here with Miss Santamaro. Miss Santamaro, how did St. Vincent Pallotti go about following God's call?
Well, St. Vincent Pallotti followed the gospel message of Jesus Christ, right? Just like we all have to do that today. And he helped the poor. He made sure young ladies were educated. They helped farmers to get skills and equipment. And he had orphanages. So these are the same things that Jesus would do in his times. Jesus always helped the people that were, I wouldn't say a little down and out, needed the extra help and needed help with their daily necessities of life.
What kind of work did he do in his priesthood?
Well, first he actually helped tutor other students so that they could finish their studies, and he took food to the poor, just like his parents owned a grocery store, and so he, just like the Murphy markets, I call it, they had a lot to share. And so they made sure that other people shared in the food with them. He gave his coat. He visited the sick.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Jacob.
Now let's see what some of the student body has to say.
I'm here with Kyle and Jada. Kyle, what do you know about St. Vincent Pallotti?
I know that he found out.
Jada, what do you know?
I know that he was selfless.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What do you know about St. Vincent Pallotti?
St. Vincent Pallotti was a great guy, great saint. Come to Eustis, you'll learn much more about him. Eustis for life.
What do you know about St. Vincent Pallotti?
St. Vincent Pallotti was born in 1795, died in 1850. He was also known as the father of the poor. Yeah.
Thank you. What do you know about St. Vincent Pallotti?
All I know is that he was Italian. He dedicated his life to infinite love, and I don't remember who told me this, but he lived in like a small little apartment, and his bed was like one wall to the other wall, and someone said that there was like a skull at the end of his bed or something. I don't know, but he's a good man.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all for this special edition of BETV. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Jeff.
Thanks for watching BETV.